Trump is now choosing his longtime ally and the former Florida Attorney General, Pam Bondi. Trump allies telling CNN they are breathing a sigh of relief, believing that Bondi will face a much easier confirmation process than Matt Gaetz. Bondi, who became Florida's top prosecutor at the height of the Tea Party movement, has a reputation as an effective litigator. She served as a member of Trump's impeachment defense team, and she joined him on the campaign trail. Bondi has also spent a lot of time on the president-elect's favorite news channel.
This is just one big press conference trying to smear Donald Trump, trying to hurt Donald Trump.
It's really unbelievable what they're doing.
Right.
They are obstructing the candidate, President Donald Trump.
The Department of Justice, the prosecutors will be prosecuted, the bad ones. The investigators will be investigated because the deep state, last term for President Trump, they were hiding in the shadows. But now they have a spotlight on them, and they can all be investigated.
All right, joining us now, criminal defense attorney and former prosecutor Mark O'Mara. He knows Pam Bondi from her time as Attorney General. Mark, I'm so grateful to have you on the show this morning. Thank you so much. What can you tell us? I first got to cover Pam Bondi back in 2012 when she was a surrogate for Mitt Romney when he was running for the Republican nomination. What can you tell us about her evolution, and most importantly, what it would mean for her to be at the top of the Department of Justice, considering what former President Trump has said he wants to do with the department?
Well, first I had several cases against her with Ms. Bondi way back in the day when she was a line prosecutor. First and foremost, she's a prosecutor. She's a good trial attorney, formidable in a courtroom, quite honestly. Now, as an attorney general, she's not going to show up in a criminal courtroom very often, but she does have that ability, that style, and that presence that I think is going to serve her very well as the attorney general.
So, Mark, how would you say her experience stacks up for the job that she has been nominated for? Because there have been sort of two parallel tracks here as we've been trying to cover Trump's nominees for these positions. Some of them have very problematic personal issues. Matt Gaetz is a good example, the one who obviously just was pulled to make way for Bondi. But the other is questions about, okay, what experience do you bring to the job? Does it line up with the types of experience that others have brought to the job in the past? How does Bondi's experience stack up in terms of others who have also been attorneys general of the United States?
Well, if I compare it to the most recent nominee, Matt Gaetz, they are worlds apart. Matt Gaetz, I don't think had any experience in a courtroom, no real trial experience. And although trial experience in and of itself isn't necessary for the job, the idea of being comfortable in the courtroom and presenting yourself, it has become pretty apparent, not only when she was a prosecutor over in Hillsborough County, but since that she has a great presence. And after all, the attorney general job is sort of just that. So I think comparing to Gaetz, also comparing to some of the other nominees for the other positions, she has the pedigree. She truly does, because she's, again, been in a courtroom, presents very well. I think she's going to be an easy nominee approval by the Congress, because she doesn't have some of the downside, it seems, that people like Mike Gaetz may have brought into it. So I think it's going to be a pretty smooth, and if you compare her to all the other candidates, I think she's going to be an easy choice to be approved.
Mark, one of the other things that Bondi did in the course of her time working on behalf of Donald Trump was lawsuits related to the 2020 elections and what she has said about who won that election, namely that Joe Biden didn't win the election, that Donald Trump did. Let's play a little bit of a few of the things that she said in the course of that, and I'll ask you about it on this side. Watch.
We are still on the ground in Pennsylvania. I'm here right now, and we are not going anywhere until they declare that we won Pennsylvania. We know that ballots have been dumped. There were ballots that were found early on. We've heard that people were receiving ballots that were dead. The thing that's happening all over the country. Were they legal ballots?
It is about the integrity of this election. And every vote, as Mayor Giuliani said, in every state must be counted fairly. We need to fix this. We need to remedy this now, because we've won Pennsylvania and we want every vote to be counted in a fair way.
So, of course, we know that Donald Trump did not win Pennsylvania in 2020. What does her role here have? What kind of implications does it have going forward if she's confirmed as Attorney General?
Well, again, I've had problems and troubles with the election deniers just because of my view of it from not a political, but from a legal standpoint. Everything we've looked at, everything that was vetted out seemed as though the election was properly done. And yes, it is somewhat problematic, generally speaking, that any candidate, attorney general, or any other cabinet member who still maintains this concern. But let's face it, she is sort of also preaching to the choir of who is now going to be our next president. That was always the position of Donald Trump. It's never going to change from that. I find it concerning because the attorney general is the lead of not only the Department of Justice, but when you hear about the justice system in America, you think about the attorney general. Has to be trusted, has to be believed, has to be respected, so that we know that we can place our trust. Every one of us can place our trust in her and therefore place our trust in the criminal justice system. So a little bit troubling, and I'm hopeful that she's going to move forward as an attorney general, not just as a continued election denier, because it is problematic for the trust in the system.